All right. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call this Tampa City Council meeting to order. At this point, I yield to Councilmember Vieira to introduce our guest for the invocation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. It's my great pleasure to introduce Pastor Christopher Harris, who is the Director of Ministry, or strike that, previously served as Director of Ministry Operations and is a member of the pastoral team with Crossover Church in Tampa, Crossover Church in North Tampa, which is on Fowler, and many of y'all will remember it as, or strike that, remember the building it was in, it's the old Toys R Us building, if y'all remember it, is one of the finest churches in Tampa. I always say that that's a church that puts the Christ in Christian. I really, really love that church a great deal. Pastor Christopher Harris currently serves as international leader within the Worldwide Ministry Reformation Full Gospel Baptist Church, Fellowship International, where Bishop Joseph Walker III is the presiding bishop. He is an alumnus of Florida State University and the University of South Florida, and is also a member of a number of national boards and community groups. He previously served in ministries in Florida, the state of South Carolina, North Carolina, and Illinois. Having completed course requirements for his doctorate, he has also served on staff at multiple secondary and post-secondary educational institutions as an administrator, instructor, and staff member. As a lifelong learner, he recently completed a certificate of ministry and theology at Princeton Theological Seminary. He has also been involved in many, many other endeavors, and he and his church do a wonderful effort called Love Our City every year, where they do many, many projects to reach out into the community. So it is my great pleasure to welcome our friend, Pastor Christopher Harris, for the invocation. If you would please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, City Council, for the opportunity to come back again today. The last time I was here, you guys invited me back, so I must not have done too bad. God of peace, giver of hope, sustainer of life, source of health and healing, wellspring of wisdom, and author and finisher of our faith, we pause in this moment to acknowledge our need for you. We desperately proclaim our dependence on your help to lead well, to live well, and to legislate well. We desperately declare our reliance upon your righteousness to serve as our standard of right and wrong, and not our egos, our political preferences, or distorted perceptions. We thank you, O God, for the peace and security that we do enjoy today, for the stability that we so often take for granted. Holy Spirit, we ask you to fill our city leaders with wisdom, with understanding, with discernment, with knowledge. Grant them favor, increase their faith, prepare them to receive and pursue your will for this city. Draw them to you and cause them to know and fulfill your purpose for their lives individually and for our lives collectively. As they consider the decisions on budget today, thank you that every decision maker will remember that the money is not theirs personally, and that a heart of selflessness and accountability and discipline will guide them. Let every dollar consider real dilemmas, every number remember names, and every cent remember that there are stories connected to them. Please place people in their paths that will provide scriptural and sound and godly counsel, for without your counsel, all of our plans will go awry. Deal with our leaders about keeping their hearts and motives pure. Ask you, God, we ask you to make their hearts pliable and willing and obedient to your word and to your way. Cause each of their lives to glorify your name. Lord, forgive us for not praying for our leaders consistently. Forgive us, God, as we have often led selfishly in our motives and movements and limited even our interactions with them. Forgive us, God, of having calloused hearts when you've called us to causes and to commitments that will cause people to change for the better. I pray today that our leaders' lives will be deeper and more rooted in a healthy foundation than that they might be shallow and not shallow and tossed by winds of misguided ambition. Father, I pray today that we will always prioritize people over politics. Today, I pray for our city councils, our mayor. God, may your wisdom produce in them creative ideas and solutions to problems, new technologies and solutions and products. May you give them sound counsel and good judgment to make great decisions even behind closed doors. May you also always give them greater knowledge and greater power so that they can live skillfully. I pray and conclude this, Lord, that you will bless them and keep them, that you will make your face to shine on them and be gracious to them, that you will turn your face towards them and give them peace. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America Roll call, please.
Carlson.
Here.
Hurtak. Here. Clendenin.
Here.
Henderson.
Present.
Vieira.
Here.
Miranda.
Here.
And Maniscalco.
Here.
We have a fiscal count.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion to adopt the minutes from the July 27th meeting? We have a motion from Councilman Miranda. Do we have a second? Second. Second from Councilmember Vieira. All in favor? Aye. All right, we're going to go quickly through the approval of the agenda. Just a couple of items. There's a substitute resolution for item number 11, and we'll take that up when we get there. We have a memo from Councilwoman Hurtak pulling item number 14. We're going to hear that during staff reports. It will be the first. I don't believe there's an administration update, so it'll be heard first under staff reports. Can I get a motion to pull that item?
So moved.
Motion from Councilwoman Hurtak, second from Councilmember Vieira. All in favor? Aye. All right. Any opposed? All right. Let's go through the staff reports real quick. Again, item number 14 will go first. For item number 24, we have a written report from the Chief of Police. Would you like someone present?
Is that fine?
Yes, sir. Councilman Vieira.
I'm fine with a written report.
Okay. So we'll have that. Item number 25, this is regarding TPD using helicopters. I myself would like them here. It's a big issue, but I also have a request that item number 25, number 30 be heard right, together right after each other because it is a TPD item. So we'll do that. Item number 26, would we like
Yes, please.
someone here? Okay, Councilman Carlson, we'll have 26 here. Item number 27, we have a written report. Councilman Vieira, would you like someone here for that?
I apologize. Let me look at that.
This is for the
Oh, no,
sister
that's
city.
fine.
No?
Yeah.
All right, we'll be good with the written report. Item number 28, this motion is by Councilmember Hurtak.
Yes, just a brief conversation.
Okay, item number 29, we have a PowerPoint presentation, so
Yes.
yes. Item number 30, we brought up. Yes, that'll be all grouped in with the TPD. And then item number 31, there's a request to continue the item to September 28th. We have a
Second.
motion from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Carlson. All in favor? Aye. We will take a 5-minute recess after the mayor presents the budget so that CTTV can reset before we start the regular agenda. And we will be breaking at noon for lunch if we need to, because it is a short agenda. May I have a motion to approve the agenda and the addendum? We have a motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Item number 1. Please state your name. You have 3 minutes.
All right, good thing I took that speed talking class. Good morning. Chairman Maniscalco, council, community. It is my honor to stand before you this morning and present the City of Tampa's 2024 budget for your consideration. As you've heard in individual briefings, we have painstakingly built a budget that addresses the needs of our community in the most efficient, effective, and equitable ways possible. We will continue to be excellent stewards of the public dollars. Our CFO, Dennis Rahiro, will take you through our 2024 budget proposal in detail, but I'd like to provide you with a brief overview. This 2024 City of Tampa budget is a turning point that opens the door into Tampa's future. A budget in which we, as a community, take responsibility for addressing the greatest challenges that our city is facing. It's a budget that makes the critical investments in infrastructure that our residents are demanding, investments that ensure that our growing city remains safe, provides needed housing, paves our crumbling streets, and builds sidewalks, while also investing in the quality of life that makes the city so special. This budget is our commitment to listening to our residents to get things done. And that, after all, is why we are all here. The time to invest in our future is now, and here is why. Tampa is one of the nation's fastest growing cities. It's on the map as a great place to live, work, play, and visit. Wages are increasing by a rate that's beating inflation. Household incomes are up 15.7% since 2017, adjusted for inflation. Home values are appreciating and families are reinvesting in their neighborhoods. We're seeing new businesses open every day, and at 2.5%, Tampa's unemployment rate is the third lowest in the nation. But over 50,000 new residents in the past decade and tens of thousands of new jobs means higher demand for services and more wear and tear on our infrastructure. And with an expected 150,000 new residents and 250,000 new jobs in the next 22 years, protecting our quality of life requires better infrastructure and smarter growth. 4 consecutive years of community value surveys shows that residents from all demographic groups across our city have high levels of trust in city government. They believe that the city has done our job well. Over the past 4 years, we've done everything that we could with the resources we had to address the issues that we hear about from our neighborhoods and residents. We continuously analyze how best to maintain the most effective and efficient workforce. Because we've spent our resources so responsibly, we've maintained top-tier credit ratings that save our taxpayers millions of dollars annually. And we've focused on bringing in external funding. By making grants a priority, we've brought in over $139 million in competitive state and federal dollars, including $35 million that we were awarded for stormwater projects 2 weeks ago. We've completed comprehensive master plans to ensure that every dollar is being spent in the most impactful way. These plans are more than documents. They are roadmaps for building a Tampa over the next 30 years that is sustainable, resilient, and equitable. Building a Tampa that has the infrastructure to meet our needs, but also the ability to maintain it. We've completed the MOVES Master Plan, Vision Zero Plan, Parks and Recreation Master Plan, Tampa Fire Rescue Public Safety Master Plan, and the Climate and Equity Master Plan. Development of a citywide housing needs assessment and an update to our comprehensive plan are currently underway. We've merged the input from residents from our diverse neighborhoods with data to ensure that our spending and decision-making includes both efficiency and equity. Thank you, City Council, for supporting these planning efforts. Having plans ready for implementation has been a big advantage when applying for federal grants and has helped us bring in a great deal of funding. And we've demonstrated through pipes, stormwater improvements, and many other projects that we manage large-scale infrastructure projects at every step of the way, from issuing bonds to contracting the projects to building and completing them on time and on budget. Frankly, we've done everything we can with what we have, but the public is demanding we do better with potholes, housing, and other necessary services. And that's just the beginning, because we must also think about future residents and how our investments in transportation and parks, public safety will impact how and where people live and work, and most importantly, their quality of life. So let's talk about what's in the proposed budget and what's in it for Tampa residents. The proposed budget includes $45 million in new investments in transportation, public safety, parks, and housing. We can leverage these dollars in several ways to fund projects across the city. As we talk about the budget, I want to thank the members of City Council for being strong advocates for our city in these key areas. To fund these critical projects and services, a millage increase of 1.0 will be necessary. We've raised the millage rate once in 30 years, and this is an entirely different city than it was 3 decades ago. This will cost the average Tampa household $19.29 a month. Twice in 2 years, Tampa voters sent a clear message that they want to invest in transportation infrastructure, and they're willing to pay for it. They want sidewalks, they want safety, they want options. They want shorter commutes, less congestion, and smoother traffic flow. And above all, they want us to fix their roads. Last year, 82% of District 4 precincts in South Tampa voted to raise their own taxes to pay for transportation improvements. 92% of District 5 and 86% of District 6 and 7 precincts did the same. That's almost 87% of precincts citywide. There could be no clearer message from voters that the time to act is now. This is something that we hear about all the time from the public, but also from members of City Council. Councilman Carlson, we heard you when you said that we need to focus on repaving and that we can't wait for a surtax to get it done. Councilman Clendenin, we heard you when you said that the one thing you hear about more than anything else from your constituents is that we need to fix our roads. And Councilwoman Hurtak, you've been a vocal advocate of doing what we can to support transit and our bus system, and I agree that we can do more. With our MOVES plan, we've listened to residents in neighborhoods across Tampa and identified over $2 billion in long-term needs that accomplish the goals over 30 years. These are needs, they're not wants. This budget starts to address these needs by making historic investments in transportation to safely connect people to jobs, schools, and businesses. Tampa residents don't want to hear about why we can't afford to fix our often failing streets. They want us to take responsibility now and get to work. And this is exactly what this budget does. To go into further detail about our proposed transportation infrastructure investments, I'd like to bring the Administrator of Infrastructure and Mobility, Gene Duncan, up to the podium. Gene?
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, City Council. Pleasure to be here this morning. Council, we've heard from each and every one of you regarding your constituent needs and requests to address transportation issues. Our residents contact us directly every single day. Every day we find new ways to do more with less. We have updated our strategic prioritization approach with our MOVES plan that included many public engagement meetings to listen to our neighborhood residents. We have leveraged the $9 million in gas tax dollars, which is our only dedicated fund source, to secure what we affectionately refer to as other people's money, OPM. In fact, I didn't know there was a movie about that, but apparently there is. Under this administration, the Mobility Department has brought in a total of $50 million in grants. We have realigned existing staff and resources to create the Quick Build program and the Fix It Fast program. The Quick Build approach has allowed us to use in-house forces to implement small but impactful safety projects. The Fix It Fast program has successfully improved our response times to address the most pressing repair needs on our roadways. We can all agree that the state of our transportation system is dire. Over 40% of our roadways are in poor condition. If you listen to our constituents, they would probably say 100% are in poor condition. This means that many of them need to be rebuilt rather than just repaved. That cost is dramatically higher than just repaving. We have over 1,300 miles of sidewalk gaps that are needed to connect schools, parks, and neighborhoods throughout the entire city. The Tampa Bay region is regularly identified as one of the most dangerous areas for pedestrian and bicycle safety. Safety and congestion needs exist citywide. Traffic signals are one of our assets that allow us to better manage congestion and improve safety. Over half of our 600 traffic signals are past their useful life and need to be replaced. And currently it's about $1 million per intersection with the cost that we have today. Roadway paving costs continue to escalate. If you look at this chart here, you can see on the bottom line, we currently dedicate about $5 million of the $9 million gas tax that we get to address paving needs. The proposed millage will take us up to the yellow line, bring us up to about $19 million per year. Then we can start to address our most critical needs with this funding. If we wanted to keep our entire transportation network from not getting any worse, we would need to be spending about $28 million per year. And to actually bring our roads up to current standards to a fair condition, we need to be spending over $45 million per year. So simply put, we need this millage increase, to do more paving, more sidewalks, and more safety. This map shows the worst of our worst neighborhoods. Many of the roads in these locations need to be rebuilt rather than be repaved. And you can see they're scattered throughout the entire city. Next slide, please. With our current gas tax dollars of $5 million per year, we will be able to address approximately 30 neighborhood projects over the next 5 years. With the $1 million increase, we estimate that over the next 5 years, we can address about 102 neighborhood projects where the roads are in the worst condition. The proposed millage will also allow us to start to chip away at the extensive sidewalk needs that we have. We have over 1,300 miles of new sidewalk needs citywide. We would actually need to spend about $52 million a year for the next 25 years to address these needs. That is staggering. However, we need to start somewhere and not just continue to ignore the problem. So in summary, the proposed additional millage would allow us to construct about 102 neighborhood projects over the next 5 years, which improves the roads that are in the poorest condition. We can increase sidewalk construction from about 0.5 mile per year to over 17 miles a year over the next 5 years. And we would be able to implement approximately 25 traffic signal replacement and safety improvement upgrades at our neediest locations throughout the entire city. And finally, if we do nothing, this map continues to get more and more red, which means reduced safety, more congestion, and exponentially more cost to address the needs. So council, let's start to tackle this problem now. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Jean. I think we can all agree that every Tampa resident has the right to feel safe in their own home, business, and school, regardless of where they live. This is something that I've been committed to throughout my career, and I've heard the same from each of the council members. Public safety is a prerequisite to economic development, community empowerment, and our quality of life. A successful city is built on a foundation of safety and security. Tampa, as you know, is one of the safest cities our size in the nation, and that is not by happenstance. It comes through hard work, dedication, and collaboration with our community. As we grow into the future, we will continue to prevent crime through partnerships, responsible technological advances, and programs. But our rapidly growing city will also need more officers. As you know, close to 90% of TPD's budget is personnel. Councilwoman Henderson, we appreciate and agree with your passion for providing our youth with programs and opportunities that will assist them in choosing the right path as they grow into adulthood. This budget supports requests made by council and the public for additional officers, communication tools for community policing, and supporting outreach to the homeless individuals and those with mental health issues. I appreciate the support of Chairman Maniscalco and council members Carlson, Hurtak, Clendenin, Henderson, Vieira, and Miranda, all of you for expressing your support for these investments. To go into further detail about our proposed TPD budget increases, I'm going to bring up Chief Burkle.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, Council.
Good morning.
It's my honor to present you and the public our increased budget request for the police department. Your police department is operating at an extremely high and efficient level. This is evident in the hard work of our fine officers and our professional staff, our successes, our community support, and our excellent reputation across the state and the nation. Our mission is to reduce crime and improve the quality of life through a cooperative partnership with all citizens, and we are doing just that. Last year, violent crime was down 3%. In the first half of this year, violent crime is down an additional 9%. Moreover, our homicides are down and our clearance rate is up. However, we are still experiencing surges in auto burglaries and stolen vehicles. We continue to encourage everyone to lock their cars and remove their valuables from their vehicles. We also realize that there's still pockets of crime in the city, and we are working with the community members to address those concerns. Our officers are solving crimes at an unprecedented sense of urgency. We've highlighted many cases here in council where we have solved major crimes in less than 48 hours. Our response times for priority events are nearly 2 times quicker than our goals. Tampa is one of the safest cities our size in the nation, just as the mayor said. The sense of personal safety is even more important than the crime statistics. Our community values survey indicates a strong sense of personal safety, and the overwhelming majority of our community is satisfied with police presence and the response in their neighborhoods. This does not mean our work is complete, as we still have areas to address. However, we are on the right track and we are making a difference. This trend is due to the hard work of our officers, our staff, in preventing crime, solving crime, and their embracing of our expanded community-oriented policing philosophy. We have just under 1,000 officers and just over 400,000 citizens, and clearly we cannot do this alone. We are so fortunate to have such an engaged community here in Tampa. We face falling below the national average in law enforcement standards if we fail to keep up with Tampa's growth. The national average is 2.4 officers for 1,000 citizens. We are currently allocated 984 sworn positions. And as you know, our population is expected to increase, which could reduce that ratio. In addition to population, there are a plethora of increasing demands on officers. Our times on calls are increasing. The evolution of our assignments is increasing. Things like the Real-Time Crime Center, our behavioral health unit, our homeless outreach, the large number of great special events that we have in this city, and the evolving technology and training that our officers are faced with. We excel in preventing crime, but this is labor intensive. To continue providing the highest level of service to our community, we must address the gaps in the number of officers, the modernization of our fleet vehicles, and the community engagement, specifically our Police Athletic League. Moreover, we must capitalize on evidence-based technology that increases our transparency and supports our staff, allowing them to be more efficient and effective. Council, just as you all suggested and strongly supported, we must grow our police department in concert with the growth of the city. We are proposing adding 30 additional sworn officers. This would bring the sworn officer levels from 984 to 1,014, thus improving our officer-citizen ratio and keeping us above the national average. These additional officers will be assigned to our front lines in patrol and fill our current gaps in training and long-term military leave. Over 3 years, this increase in staffing would cost over $9 million. Through a Department of Justice grant, we could save the city nearly $4 million. After the 3 years, this increase in staffing would cost us an additional $3.4 million before the adjusted salaries. Hiring and recruiting is just as essential. I'm proposing that we add a second scholarship class each year. These classes actually help us in our diversity recruitment and hiring officers from within our own city. Adding a second class would increase our police recruit budget by just over $500,000 for tuitions and salaries. We are in the process of updating our police vehicle fleet. We are going towards a 9-year rotation, but to accomplish this, we are requesting in next year's budget an additional $3.5 million above our budgeted allotment. The impact of not having this funding results in fewer cars being purchased, which means keeping older cars in our fleet that require additional maintenance and repair cost. While we have a multitude of programs focused on preventing crime, we believe in investing in reinvigorating our PAL program. Engaging with even more of our youth will provide our next generation with the foundation to become the future leaders of this city. Investing roughly $700,000 will provide an opportunity to hire 4 full-time positions, 6 part-time, and up to 14 seasonal positions. Evidence-based supporting technology is critical to our mission, and I'm requesting an additional $1.2 million to increase our transparency and effectiveness. And several of our top projects under this proposal would include providing a smartphone for all of our officers. This would not only provide increased opportunities for community engagement, but would provide technology at their fingertips as opposed to going back to their car. Other top projects would include increased digital evidence storage and more advanced mapping systems. So in summary, I'm requesting an investment in our cops, our cars, and our community. These additional resources and funding will help us towards working towards our shared goals as public servants, which is a better, safer Tampa for residents and visitors alike. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Steve. As you all know, Tampa Fire Rescue has a lot to be proud of. The men and women of Tampa Fire Rescue have a difficult and often dangerous job. They never hesitate to put their lives on the line in service to our community. Residents of our city count on them to be there in their most difficult moments. In 2022, Tampa Fire Rescue responded to 10,825 fire calls and 81,116 medical calls. Councilman Vieira and other members of Tampa City Council, this budget is a commitment to update stations, add additional firefighters and paramedics, add rescue units, and increase the department's capacity. It's also a commitment to improving efficiencies and response times throughout our city. To go into further detail about the TFR proposed budget increases, I'm going to bring up Chief Tripp.
Good morning, Council. Tampa Fire Rescue has been in existence for over 128 years. With those years, a rich tradition has been established. There are approximately 742 men and women who sacrifice their life every day for our community and have made Tampa Fire Rescue an elite department. Tampa Fire Rescue ranks in the top 1% of agencies with an ISO rating of 2 or better. Even with the challenges of the pandemic, Tampa Fire Rescue received its 3rd accreditation in February of 2021. That was evaluated by the Center for Public Safety Excellence. This speaks volumes for the commitment from the men and women who make sure Tampa Fire Rescue consistently meet the national standards when using the best practice when delivering a high level of emergency service to the community. Over the last 6 years, with the exception of 2020, the call volume in the city of Tampa has increased. Last year, 2022, Tampa Fire Rescue responded to over 91,000 calls for service with over 80,000 medical calls. As you see here on the chart, in the past 6 years, the average call volume was over 86,000 calls for service per year, with over 200,000 calls answered by the Tampa Fire Rescue Communications Center, which equals over 200 calls answered on a daily basis. The current vehicle fleet is outdated with apparatuses operating beyond life expectancy. One of the main issues Tampa Fire Rescue face is the manufacturer shortage of available chassis, which is a nationwide problem, as well as parts for the vehicles. And definitely let's not forget the effect of the recent pandemic with manpower. The average delivery time for ALS transport units range from 18 to 24 months, and an engine or aerial apparatus production times can be up to 30 months. Tampa Fire Rescue is also dealing with outdated evidence-based technology, from computers, automatic vehicle locators, and of course, the computer-aided dispatch system. Each of you have stated the City of Tampa is growing. Currently, the ratio of firefighters to residents is 1.5 to 1.8 per 1,000 citizens. With additional funds, Tampa Fire Rescue will add more personnel. Recently, Tampa Fire Rescue applied for the SAFER grant, which is the assistance to staffing the needs for fire and emergency response. The average cost of a firefighter to start is over $85,000. The additional personnel with the assistance of the growth will assist with the growth of the City of Tampa. Tampa Fire Rescue has 5 stations without ALS transport units. Additional personnel will fulfill the staffing needs for those ALS transport units. Based on the recent review of the 80,000 medical calls, additional resources is needed. Response time has been a big concern from each of you as well as the community. Tampa Fire Rescue mission is to protect our community by providing immediate response to all requests for service. Reduction in response time as well as reduction in unit hourly definitely will be granted with this additional funding. In March of 2023, an additional ALS unit was added in the city limits. Data has shown a 19% decrease unit hourly utilization. When this agency was established in 1895, it was known as Tampa Fire Department, meaning the fire stations was built for fire apparatuses only. Around 1978, when the emergency medical service was introduced to the fire department and later becoming Tampa Fire Rescue, many of the stations were not redesigned to accommodate the additional personnel or equipment. These additional funds would assist with upgrading, remodeling, rebuilding the fire station to accommodate additional personnel as well as equipment. As Tampa Fire Rescue continued to reduce response times, there are multiple components involved to maintain and stay in compliance with national standards, which includes purchasing of new vehicles, continue to update and implement best practice technology, including a new pre-exemption platform to allow vehicles to move through the City of Tampa safely, effectively, and in an efficient manner. K-Bar Ranch is located in Councilmember Louis Vieira District, District 7. Even though Tampa Fire Rescue is meeting national standards, that is one area where response time is longer than normal. The goal is to add additional rescue resources to decrease the response time, not only in District 7, but throughout the City of Tampa. Statistics show the fire stations are geographically located throughout the City of Tampa. As we discussed in the past, Councilmember Clendon, before building additional fire stations, we should fill the stations with the appropriate resources to provide the community with the required level of service. We have stations built in 1914 and 1921. Those are the 2 oldest stations. I have 7 stations built in 1958, plus an outdated maintenance shop that was built in 1955. 65-year-old stations are in desperate need of repair and upgrades. This additional funding will allow stations to receive Category 5 hurricane windows, overhead doors, electrical, gender-appropriate bathrooms, and much more. From the recent assessment of the stations, the price range for upgrading and or rebuilding range from $1.3 million to $8.5 million, based on the year and the condition of the station. This additional funding will assist Tampa Fire Rescue to continue to be that elite department. Thank you. Turn it back over to the mayor.
Thank you, Chief. Council, as you're aware, providing inadequate support for our first responders will result in additional costs down the road and literally cost lives. Tampa's Gold Medal award-winning Parks and Recreation System is a cornerstone of our community's quality of life, bringing residents together with opportunities that benefit not only their health and well-being, but also builds a sense of community in each and every neighborhood. We need to preserve, maintain, and improve these parks for current and future generations. Tampa's booming population is putting a strain on our park system and staff. Since 2009, 35% of our park staff were laid off in 2009 during the Great Recession. Tampa's grown by over 50,000 citizens during that time, creating additional maintenance needs and programming backlogs for after-school programs, summer camps, gymnastics, and other classes. When we talk about improvements, it's not just ongoing and deferred maintenance, it's equity, connectivity, and accessibility. The last time that the city raised its millage, one of the top items funded was the New Tampa Recreation Center, which had a terrible backlog for dance and gymnastics. Children all over our city should have access to quality programming, and this budget will ensure that it's provided. Thank you, Councilman Vieira, for your hard work to bring equity to New Tampa, and thank you, Councilwoman Henderson, for your voice and determination to bring this programming to East Tampa as well. And Councilman Vieira, your fight to make our parks accessible for people of all abilities, especially children, has not gone unnoticed. Last week, we were awarded the 2023 Karen Jacobs Outstanding Accessible Places Award for the City of Tampa All Abilities Playground in New Tampa. This budget will make accessible parks a reality for more and more children each and every day. To go into further detail on the proposed parks and recreation investments, I'd like to bring up our Administrator of Neighborhood and Community Affairs, Osea Wynn.
Good morning, Council. Thank you so much, Mayor. Our parks have been recognized nationally, within the state, and on a local level. However, it has not been without its challenges. We have a Parks and Recreation, next slide, please. Oh. We face a growing need within our parklands and within our neighborhoods with the growing backlog, with long wait lists, as the mayor has mentioned, and with the reduction of the park staff. That 35% reduction in the park staff, that equates to 245 employees that we have not recovered. As Tampa continues to grow and the population continues to grow, that will continue to put more strain and impact on our existing park system. So what we are proposing, we're proposing implementing the first 5 years of the Parks and Recreation recommendations as identified in the master plan. These recommendations highlight the immediate needs and the highest priorities of the community. The renovations and reinvestment in existing parks and facilities, new facilities in existing parks, and providing additional recreation amenities in our 15 undeveloped parks. These immediate actions will also help increase the capacity of our park system by adding more facilities, more amenities, and help create open space in our parks. Our master plan identified the estimates that are needed for our operation and maintenance, and these costs for the first 5 years costs, with the inclusion of 26 additional staff members, will cost us about $3 million annually. The master plan has already also identified projects, and I'll just name just a few that we will renovate, we will improve. The River Tower trails, shoreline restoration, and park improvements. That will include parking at the River Tower Park. We will rehab the Sulphur Springs Park. Councilman Carlson, we've had calls regarding the Hyde Park Art Studio and redeveloping that area. We will tackle that as well. The Dundee Playground and Healing Gardens and sidewalks. That was a request from the community. We will reimagine how this funding could be used for our stormwater ponds and creating those ponds into parks. Councilman Vieira, we heard you about the lack of park and park amenities in your district. So with the K-Bar Ranch, we will look at putting multi-purpose fields, play areas, neighborhood connections, and parking. The Tampa Ponds Park, the 5-acre park, we will look at putting trails and amenities. The new Tampa Nature Park will look at including a nature center, expanding the trail system, and restrooms. These are just a few of the many needs that have been identified by the master plan. In terms of programming, the mayor mentioned the wait list for gym and dance. Well, even with the previous millage, we still have a wait list. So at the Wayne Pappy facility, we have a wait list of approximately 1,200 people, as well as in the new Tampa. So both facilities have a wait list of 2,400 collective, so 1,200 at each location. In comparison, there are approximately 1,100 students enrolled at Wayne Pappy now, and 1,400 enrolled at the new Tampa Rec Center. The wait times could be in excess of a year, and this is further impacted by the low student-to-teacher ratio that's needed for the younger students. So this additional funding will allow us to think creatively about how we can expand our services throughout our recreation system and to hire additional staff to tend to the gym and dance. And it's not only gym and dance, we see the same thing in our after-school programming as well. Maintenance. On average, Parks and Recreation sends approximately 2,500 work orders to facility management. And this is mostly due to the deferred maintenance of our facilities. Our forestry department receives approximately 1,800 work orders annually. And our forestry staff is taking from 6 to 8 weeks for new inspections. This is due to the lack of personnel as well as the lack of reliable equipment that we have to tend to these needs. All of our 17 swimming pools and splash pad amenities are needing some level of repair in one or more of the following areas. We have needs for surface repair, filtration and pump systems, heaters and blankets, controllers, UV, and decks, every last one of them. The master plan has identified approximately $24 million in existing pool repair and maintenance needs. We spoke of accessibility, and Councilman Vieira, thank you so much for your drumbeat and your passion for leading this effort. But our accessible park should be every park, not just highlighted in just one park. So we will provide ADA accessibility within all 192 parks. And we will upgrade our swimming pools with ADA lifts, ramps, and waiting access. We will continue to work with our sustainability and resiliency officer to explore opportunities for solar installations as we're renovating buildings, as well as developing a canopy maintenance program for tree planting. Both of these programs have huge upfront capital investments. With that, Mayor, I'll turn it back over to you, and thank you so much, Council.
One of the greatest challenges facing Tampa is ensuring that our residents of all income levels can find housing that they can afford. There is a housing shortage at all income levels in our city. This shortage is particularly difficult for our lower income residents, but our middle-class families are also having less choices than ever before. According to the 2023 Community Values Survey, access to affordable housing was the issue with the largest expectation gap. The city's role in housing is focused on expanding homeowner opportunities, preventing evictions, partnering with developers to include more attainable housing in new projects, and establishing the conditions through transit corridors and land use reforms to increase density. This budget makes a significant investment in housing that we can leverage with local, state, federal, and private partners. Your support of Tampa Hope and its partners is also a key necessity when we add the need to shelter and assist our homeless population. I'd like to thank Chairman Maniscalco, Councilmember Miranda, for your increasing assistance and attention on our housing issue. To go further in detail on proposed housing investments, I'd like to bring up our Administrator for Development and Economic Opportunity, Nicole Travis.
Thank you, Mayor, and good morning, Council. In 2019, and with limited data, Mayor Castor set a goal of 10,000 affordable units by 2027, knowing Tampa was falling behind in housing affordability. This council have heard from the citizens, especially in the past 10 months, about the need to have housing for all. As of July 2023, there are 2,034 affordable units that have been completed or are underway. 3,082 units are in the planned and conceptual phase. It will require financial support to have these units go into the development construction phase. For the first time in Tampa's history, general fund investments were made in homeownership and rental assistance programs to help our residents remain housing stable. We've also invested in the comprehensive housing needs assessment and a significant update to the Land Development Code, which will help inform policy decisions on housing in the future. The City of Tampa is expected to see approximately a 20% increase in households by 2030. That's an additional 32,000 households in the next 7 years. To accommodate that growth without displacing current residents, the city needs to build a solid foundation complete with infrastructure to meet the housing needs of our community. Without intentional and strategic investment, we will continue to fall further behind in Tampa's housing gap of 26,000 affordable units to households at or below 50% of the area median income. 50% of the area median income is $43,450 for a family of 4. So that's just not a number, Council. We're talking about our teachers, our labor workers, healthcare providers, service providers, and in healthcare providers, we're talking about nurses, certified nurse assistants, and technicians. It will take almost $1 billion to reach the 10,000 unit goal by 2027 of both private and public investment. Your commitment to fair housing through your support of the proposed $1 million increase will allow us to continue ongoing funding opportunities for affordable housing development. It will allow us to make units affordable by lowering the per unit cost through subsidization and strategic property acquisition. The ability to rely on funding from the millage increase allows us to plan strategically for our operational and HR needs. The funding would also allow us to provide an infusion of land and startup cash for the only true way to ensure long-term housing affordability through a community land trust. I just mentioned displacement of residents, but perhaps I should be a little more direct. We will see significant increase in our homeless population unless a bold and sustainable investment is made in fair housing. The proposed millage will yield $9 million annually that can be leveraged to $134 million over a 5-year period. This increase is a mission-oriented investment that will invest in and alongside local housing developers to create and preserve affordable housing options for residents of the City of Tampa. The infusion of cash is important because, as you all know, development and construction takes years. Developers need certainty. When affordable housing developers can depend on funding in out years, it increases their likelihood that they will pool private and philanthropic funds to leverage with local funds, reducing the city's contribution on a per unit basis. They cannot plan investment in out years based off of a single year allocation. Councilman Miranda, you have called me several times with property available or suitable for affordable housing, but they're outside of the CRA districts. This millage increase will give us the capital needed to buy land in bulk outside of our CRAs. Council, your support for fair housing is tantamount to supporting social equity and inclusivity within our communities. By ensuring equal access to housing opportunities, individuals from diverse backgrounds can thrive, leading to a more vibrant and dynamic local economy. Fair housing policies contribute to economic development by attracting businesses, fostering a skilled workforce, and creating stable neighborhoods that encourage investments and growth. Council, I thank you for your supporting our protected populations and most vulnerable citizens with their housing needs. And Mayor, turn it back to you.
Thank you, Nicole. Council, just like you, I hear often from our residents about the conditions of our streets, about how children and seniors throughout Tampa should have equal access to parks and recreation services, about how where you live in Tampa shouldn't determine how fast first responders get to you in an emergency, and about how families are worried that they're being priced out as housing costs rise. I also understand that while our economy is stronger than ever, with higher incomes and opportunities for job training and for better paying jobs, we still have vulnerable populations that are struggling, and we need to make sure that they are not left behind. To be clear, this budget is not going to address all of our gaps or our growth challenges. But without additional funding, the City of Tampa will struggle to move forward on addressing any of these core services outlined today or in our master plans. Without additional funding, service levels will remain as they are while demand and deferred maintenance increases. The public is demanding that we start tackling these challenges head on, that we invest in our infrastructure and increase our service levels. Today, not tomorrow, not in the next administration or under the next council, but now, and we have to listen. Tampa's at a pivotal point in our history, and I'm asking you to help ensure that we have the resources to keep Tampa thriving. Each of us has the opportunity to make the bold decisions necessary to ensure that this great city grows to its potential. Thank you all for your attention today, and I'll turn it over to our CFO, Dennis Ruggiero, to present the 2024 budget. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Thank you. Huh? All right, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Council. Dennis Ruggiero, Chief Financial Officer. And thank you also for having me here today following on the mayor and her administrators for the recommended fiscal year 24 the recommended fiscal year 24 budget. You see on screen the agenda. We'll begin by talking and expanding on that 1 mil recommended increase. We'll move into our operating and capital budgets, as we always do. And again, as we always do, an overview of our 5-year capital improvement and debt programs. So moving into an expansion of that 1 mil increase, let me set that aside, if I may, for just a moment and give you an idea of where we're at right now. The city is very fortunate in many respects. Some of the last comments the mayor's made identified some of our strengths: economic diversity, which is what you want. It's similar to an investment. You want to hedge your risks in this area, in this area, in this area, and we're very fortunate that we can do that with all of our various revenues. You see on screen here a taxable value increase of nearly 12%. I'll take that every single year. That's fantastic. I remember when it was in the low single digits. Once that's taken into account, you see the revenue increase of just about $35 million. Once the Community Redevelopment Agency gets their portion of nearly $9 million, we net in the general fund a little over $26 million. That's very, very good, and I'm not going to say it's not. But the bad news is somewhat twofold. And you see here, the continuing levels of service will leave us with very little remaining. When we're talking in the back, as we develop this budget over months and months and months, the continuing levels of service, and you've probably heard us refer to it as such, we call it the target budget, the continuing budget, the status quo. But you see here, in spite of the revenue increases outside of that additional mill, we can pretty much just keep up with what we're doing now. No service expansions. And you see the usual suspects. We've talked about them before. Pay benefits and pension increases. Many of these increases are closely tied with the inflationary environment that we're in. And I don't want to pin it all on inflation, but I'll pin a great deal of it on inflation. As we've shared with you in the past, we remain and historically have been percentage points higher in our local inflation than the national inflation. So to counter that, these pay, benefits, and pension increases to keep up with inflation, those are going to continue to cost us in fiscal year 24, candidly in fiscal year 25, 26, in perpetuity. They are recurring expenses. Inflationary increases to deliver services, you see that, we've talked about it before. You've recently seen significant financial resolutions that come before you during regular council meetings to account for these cost increases, including, of course, property and liability insurance increases. I think we're part of a big club nobody wants to be a part of. I know my insurances and costs are going up significantly, and we're no different from anybody else when it comes to that. So we've asked for a 1 mil increase. And the usual suspects, again, we've referred to them as the 4 Ps, the 5 Ps, pads or housing, paving or transportation, public safety, parks and recreation. We don't have a P for vehicles, but hey, it goes with the 5 Ps. And I'll get into a little more detail on each one of these. But as you've heard the mayor say, and as you've heard me, or as you will hear me get into a little more detail, we are behind on any number of them. Oops. There we go. But before I tell you what that 1 mil is going to get us, please let me go into a little bit of history, expand on a little bit of history that the mayor touched upon. This is from 1982 to our potential and recommended millage in fiscal year 2024. You hear a great deal of talk. I've said it myself many times. When we increased the millage in 2018 to 6.2076, that was the first millage increase we'd had in almost 30 years. And that's true, but that's only part of the story. The other part of the story you see in red up there. We had reduced our millage twice within that 30-year period, and an additional homestead exemption of $25,000 was tacked on. At each and every one of those spots in red, that adversely affected, of course, our ability to bring in revenue. But it didn't just adversely affect our ability to bring in revenue and potential revenue in that year. It continued, and that's what you see with that red line. The difference between that bar chart and that red line is tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars of revenue that we have not recovered and we can't recover staying with the millage we have right here. Moving into a comparison of millage rates with what are generally identified as our peer cities. You see Tampa, Orlando, St. Petersburg, and Miami. I am the first to admit It's difficult to do an apples to apples comparison with other major American cities. We've got a lot going on. We do a great many things. They've got a lot going on. They do a great many things. But I think you'll agree, and I would submit to you, it does show a very conservative millage history on the part of the city of Tampa. We're the lowest in each of those years, going back to 2017. And this is what we will get with that 1 mil. You see a significant revenue increase of nearly $54 million. The Community Redevelopment Agency again gets about $8 million. And the general fund will net almost $46 million. That's significant funding. And what does this mean for our portfolios, for the administrators and their agencies that came up to speak to you? I'll go into that a little bit right now. You see in black, in the initial year, gets us about $18 million in transportation. And $18 million is not an insignificant amount of funding. But as you know, if we, and as we have continued our level of service, we are going backwards, and we're going backwards very, very fast. Decades and decades behind in our transportation needs, years and years behind in our public safety needs, whether it's vehicles for ambulances, fire engines, or as you heard Chief Tripp say, refurbishment and upgrades of our fire stations. So I would submit to you that the single year increase, and you see it on screen here, is not going to move the needle. Okay? And of course, we'll talk more about that over the coming weeks. What we've provided for you here is a 5-year picture to correspond with our capital improvement program of what will happen if we continue the apportionment more or less each year for the next 5 years. This is what they'll get. Again, not insignificant, and transportation, I think, is an excellent example, not going to move the needle. The numbers were so big that Gene shared with you, I've already forgotten them because we can't accommodate that need. But what we will share with you is the potential, and you've heard this word before, you're going to hear me mention it again, leveraging that money, leveraging that millage increase. Similar to the PIPES program that we've implemented, and I would suggest to you, and I think it's generally considered very, very successful. We've done a very good job with a 20-year, $3 billion project, getting the money in, spending the money, seeing the results. And what we did, if you'll recall, in the PIPES program was combine year-to-year cash and financing associated with debt service. And what you see here is a potential scenario to leverage that portion of the mill for transportation. So a combination of PAYGO, what we call cash, and financing. You see resurfacing sidewalks, et cetera. We've talked about that. Tremendous vehicle needs and grant matches. And we can end up with about $137 million. And I bring up the grants match because you see the $145 million on screen are grants that we have very, very high confidence that we're going to get, but we need that grant match to get them. You've heard Ms. Travis talk about lost opportunities with land acquisition, for instance, because we don't have the revenue available. You will continue to hear, in some instances, especially in transportation, about missed opportunities in federal and state funding for transportation because we don't have a dedicated revenue source. Our dedicated revenue source is basically the fuel tax for transportation, and it's woefully inadequate. So here's a scenario. Almost a little over $280 million for transportation. I would submit to you and the public that that will move the needle. What does this mean for public safety? Again, a little under $10 million in the fiscal year we're talking about, fiscal year 24 in black. A 5-year program across the board you see there, including financing and cash or PAYGO. And again, these are one of the departments woefully behind on their vehicle replacement, their police sedans. That is significant funding once again. We have needs far in excess of that, though. So what can we do? I offer you an example here. Again, over a 5-year period, including cash, but bonding of almost $124 million. In this particular scenario, fire station infrastructure and fire and police vehicles. I know we've got weeks of discussion ahead of us, and if and as priorities change, again, fire and police vehicles includes any number of police sedans, fire engines, ambulances. Those are very, very expensive assets. We've talked again and again at other meetings about the needs of our fire station infrastructure. We've got, as you heard Chief Tripp say, we got one out there over 100 years old. So as we enter into these discussions over the next few weeks, although the priorities may change either among these apportionments or within these apportionments, the amount of funding I'm sharing with you will not vary greatly. So in this example, again, a little over $123 million for public safety purposes. Again, I think that's going to move the needle. What does this mean for parks and recreation? You see here, in the current year, a little over the year we're talking about, excuse me, a little over $9 million, and continuing across the board with little variation. Again, significant funding. This is of, I'll remind you, this is of that $45 million in additional revenue that we anticipate to get from that 1 mil increase. But this is what we could do with it. Again, a multi-year pay-go and financing example of over $135 million for capital projects and, like so many other things we're talking about, dire need for operations and maintenance. What does this mean for housing? A little over $10 million in additional funding for housing. You heard Ms. Travis speak to this a little bit. But you also heard her say and share with you not only the needs now, but the extensive needs that we're going to need over the next couple of years. We are anticipated to stay a fantastic city that everybody wants to come to, and that's great.
Mr. O'Hara, this is an additional investment in housing,
Yes,
correct? An additional 9 million, 9.8, 11.1.
Yes, sir, and I'm sorry if I didn't make that clear. All of these are additional funding scenarios.
On top of our existing investment?
Yes,
All
sir.
right, thank you.
Yes, sir. So again, you've heard me say it with the previous slides. I'll say it again. Nobody, I think, anticipates this to move the needle. But as Ms. Travis mentioned, we can leverage that funding in both cash and financing for nearly $134 million. So it's going to cost money, of course. And what we have for you over the next couple of slides are average examples of homeowner impact associated with this 1 mil increase. We'll start right here. You see the averaged assessed value in the citywide, is just a little over $281,000. Once the homeowner takes advantage of, again, those 2 homestead exemptions of $50,000, their taxable value is a little over $231,000. That's the value of their property. From there, the annual adjustment is pretty easy, as you can see, $231.50. And over to the far right, the monthly adjustment, as you heard the mayor say, a little less than $20 a month. That's average citywide. And we'll go district by district. In District 4, you see the average assessed value of just under $482,000. Again, take it to the right, less the homestead exemption, and to the far right, you'll see the proposed monthly impact is 1 cent under $36. So for all intents and purposes, $36. And into District 5, the average assessed value of a little over $125,000. Taking it all the way to the right again, the proposed monthly impact be a little over $6 a month. And in District 6, again, the average assessed value, a little over $263,000. After the homestead exemptions, to the right, just a little under $18 a month anticipated impact for the average homeowner in District 6. In District 7, the average assessed value, $257,000, just under $258,000. And again, a proposed monthly impact of under $20, just a little over $17. That concludes my portion right now of the additional millage impact. The mayor asked that we expand upon that over and above the presentation that she and the administrators made. Now, as we typically do, we'll zoom out much, much wider to the budget in its entirety. And here it is, 1.9, a little over $1.9 billion. This is just over a 3% increase from the current year, fiscal year 23. And at the risk of belaboring some things we've already talked about, why the increase? Primarily service cost increases associated with inflation, whether it's higher salaries, healthcare costs, pension costs, deferred maintenance, and of course, the increasing contribution to the community redevelopment agencies. As we always do, we tend to concentrate on the enterprise and general funds, just about 3/4 of the entire budget, and we'll go into more detail as we typically do on the next few slides. And here are the expenditure categories for each of those funds. The general fund on the left, and you can see public safety, which includes police, fire, and code enforcement, little over half of the general fund budget in its entirety. Our Parks and Recreation Department, economic development, which includes the Tampa Convention Center, neighborhood and community affairs, and then a sizable chunk for central government. And these are the support agencies behind the scenes that keep the city running, whether it's technology and innovation, revenue and finance, human resources, purchasing, etc. On the right, the enterprise fund agencies that, again, we always talk about. I will remind council and the viewing public that these are the agencies that are anticipated and expected to run like a business. They are expected to make a profit every year and reinvest those profits into their enterprise, thus the name. And not nearly as many as agencies as you see on the left. You got the wastewater, water, solid waste, by far the largest, and then you see the parking department is also a business, as are the golf courses. And here we show two important drivers of our property tax revenue. The first, of course, on the right is just a little under $388 million in anticipated property taxes next year, with nearly $60 million of that going to the community redevelopment agencies. And on the left, as is typical, and as I don't anticipate will ever change, you can see that the property tax revenues that we receive by themselves are not sufficient, not nearly sufficient to cover just our costs associated with police and fire, which again is about half, a little over half of our general fund. I am happy to share this next file, this next slide, as I have been for the last few years, our general fund balance history. And I would be remiss, so I'm not going to be remiss. Thank you, Council, for your continuing support of these figures. It really is difficult for me to express just how important these numbers are. It's a significant metric, as we always say, of the city's financial health, and contributes a great deal to the wonderful rating agency figures that the mayor shared with you and that I will share with you again. As always, the amount increases as the budget increases, because as the budget increases, in order to maintain that ratio, the amount of money we have to set aside for our fund balance also increases. I'll remind council and the viewing public that our policy is 20%. You see that in red. I should really put that in green, I suppose. And that continuing increment above our policy is great news. But I do want to caution against thinking that's money that's free to spend. And here's why. Our policy is 20%. We consistently come in above that, and that's great. But as the market looks at us, as credit rating agencies look at us, honestly, they don't pay much attention to our policy. They pay attention to our history. And our history, for lack of a better expression, we have really identified a sweet spot there as the 23 to 24%, outside of 20 and 21, which were the pandemic era, where we received a great deal of federal and state funding. This consistency you see paints a very, very nice picture of the city's financial stability. You heard the mayor brag, thank you, Mayor, on our grants program. And I really want to brag on the departments, on my shop, on council, on the mayor, on all of those agencies that give us, as you heard Ms. Duncan say, other people's money, OPM. And you see here, we are on a tear. We've got a well-planned and integrated process within the city. It's only occurred within the past couple of years, and I think you see the results of that. As the mayor mentioned, nearly $140 million awarded. And not only is it well integrated and well thought out, but it's very ambitious. By the time this fiscal year's out, we will have applied for $230 million. And it's paying off. And of course, the caveat is, and as I always like to remind everybody, we're going to apply for $230 million. I guarantee you one thing, we won't get all of it, right? But as we expand the net and we make that net better, we really get more opportunity and help us help ourselves. And into the capital improvement program. Again, a 5-year program. We have fiscal year 24, the year we're talking about now, and the entirety of the 5 years summed on the far right, just a little under $1.7 billion. As you look through the capital improvement program, you will see it's very consistent with our current capital improvement program. The potential funding scenarios I shared with you earlier are not in this. It takes our capital improvement program right now and continues to implement the plan. No surprise, I would submit to you the big tickets are water and wastewater associated with our pipes program, solid waste. We've talked many, many times about their needs. Getting into a few more details on the projects, you see many of them, or you will see many of them listed here. Let's start with the big one, pipes, and all of those things that have continued to be in our plan, and I anticipate will continue to be in our plan. Clickers, there we are. And through to Parks and Recreation and the Solid Waste and Environmental Program Management Department. There's a mouthful. The Waste Energy Facility at the very bottom. Again, we've talked about that. We'll talk about it again. The East Tampa Recreational Complex at the top, the first bullet there. Again, more discussion coming with that, and I will share with you in the debt section some of our planned debt issuances associated with these projects. Moving into fire and the convention center and tourism, again, any number of fire station improvements and upgrades that are needed, along with these specific ones that are identified in the CIP. And we continue, of course, as you know, I think many are aware of the beautiful convention center that we've got down there. Many, many mobility projects. Again, no surprise there. That is not only one of our greatest needs, but probably one of the subjects that we hear the most about. I'm sure, or I'm pretty confident, council can say the same. And moving into, I won't read from the slide, but moving into the major fiscal year 24 and on projects within each district. pardon me, you see the maps to the right, you'll find these interactive maps in the OpenGov program online, and there's both a link at the end of this program and a link provided on the city's main webpage. I will say a little bit more about the comprehensive infrastructure for Tampa's neighborhoods. There's a title. In this particular instance, Virginia Park, you will see this in each district. These occur in all the districts because this is where water, wastewater, stormwater, and mobility come together to do a large project within the neighborhood, coordinated and relatively at the same time, so Department A doesn't come in, tear up the road, and make it good, and then Department B a year later comes in and tears up the road for something else. As you all are probably aware, we have experienced that in the past. So you'll see these on each slide with the particular neighborhood being affected. Extensive stormwater and street flooding work. The Build Grant and the West Riverwalk, you'll see that also on many of these slides. District 5, again, the East Tampa Recreational Complex. And again, the comprehensive infrastructure projects, the Build Grant and the West Riverwalk, and a number of fire stations. On to District 6. Excuse me, more of the same, and again, more fire station work. And I'd be remiss if I did not mention the Sulphur Springs Parks Improvements and Wellswood Church also. And in District 7, again, the neighborhood infrastructure projects, Fire Station number 13 and the Forest Hills Stormwater Pumping Station. These are just the major projects. And because it is so closely aligned with debt, I'd like to get into our debt program now. But before I do that, again, you've seen this many times before. You saw it recently in the mayor's presentation. But I would like to point out it varies a little bit from last year's, and I have the privilege of sharing with you that we have been upgraded once again. And you see that AA1 in green and underlined in January. Moody's upgraded our non-ad valorem revenue bonds to the second highest you can attain. Congratulations. That is due to your efforts, the mayor's efforts, our efforts. And when I say our, it's citywide. It really is a very, very strong team. This bodes very well for us as we anticipate going out for non-ad valorem bond debt within the next 6 months for any number of projects that I'll share with you in a minute. In summary, all of these ratings are high grade or better. You see at the top there, as I've pointed out before, the issuer credit rating. This is basically our personal credit score, our FICO score. On the far right, you see S&P, Standard & Poor's, has given us the highest rating possible, and that's AAA. Fitch and Moody's, the other two, have given us the second highest possible. So we are in very, very good shape. And these ratings, as I've said before, go hand in hand with all these big projects we want to do, because the better the ratings, the less money we have to spend in interest, so the more we can do. And costing us less is great, don't get me wrong, but these ratings, these types of ratings also reinforce the city as financially stable and financially conservative. I do always like to remind council and the viewing public that unlike probably most other city organizations, we are scrutinized 6 ways to Sunday, whether it's by outside independent CPAs, whether it's by these 3 credit rating agencies that you see, and they're all frequently reviewed and rated. They do what they call due diligence. They'll come in every year. We gave you this rating and it's great. Is it still worthy of being great? And so far they are. As I brag on these and congratulate you, I like to say, both out in the public and to City Council, my opinion, the public and council and the mayor should expect nothing less than these fantastic ratings. The city does a very, very good job. So congratulations. And our principal outstanding debt, You can see our debt is on a decline in the years. That's a very good profile. Last payment right now in fiscal year 57. As always, the blue line is our governmental debt, which is separate and apart from our enterprise debt. Those enterprise agencies, water, wastewater, et cetera, they truly are run like their own business, and their debt is their own. We do not have an obligation for that. Should City Council decide to issue additional debt, and we will bring you those opportunities over the next 6 months to a year, then we will change this debt profile. This is the debt profile right now. But we like this profile. We always try to plan for this profile, and I have no impression that whatever we decide to do, our general profile will not change in terms of its trend. And as in the previous slide, the green bars are the enterprise funds and the blue are governmental. You can see again that our last debt service payment right now is in 2057. Nice, smooth, decreasing payments. I always like to brag. No surprises for any forthcoming councils, for any forthcoming mayors. So that's where we are right now. Again, as we always do, we'll share with you where we think we're going. This is the general government debt issuance. This will, in all likelihood, end in a non-ad valorem bond issuance, as we just discussed. About $170 million is what we plan for these projects you see right here. They closely mimic the projects that we shared with you, that our plan was last year when I gave this presentation, with the additions of the 3 last bullets on the right, Parks Master Plan projects. Again, Council has been presented with that master plan. Transportation projects, and the Community Land Trust. I will note that last bullet at the bottom, the reimbursement resolution has already been adopted for most of these projects. And again, the reimbursement resolution allows us to quick start these projects by saying whatever we spend now, even though we don't have the debt, we can charge back to the debt once we issue it. It allows us basically to float our funding, start the project sooner rather than later, and pay ourselves back. And we've already taken care of that on most of these. And pipes. Again, in keeping with our anticipated plan, that might be redundant, in keeping with our plan, a little over $400 million split out among water and wastewater, as you see here. The reimbursement resolutions have already been adopted. As you see on the second bullet from the bottom, these will be long-term bonds, just as the first issuances of the PIPES program have been. As you've heard me say before, in scuba diving, you plan the dive and you dive the plane, and that's exactly what we're doing, and doing successfully in the PIPES program. Solid waste, again, a significant issuance. We've talked about this before. Any number of projects under that debt issuance umbrella, the waste to energy program, or the waste to energy facility program we've talked about. We have recently found the property adjacent to the solid waste location at 34th Street, what they call the CEMEX property. We have an opportunity to purchase that property across the street for $4 million. The extensive relocation of the solid waste headquarters, again, from Spruce Street out to the main facility that we've talked about in the past, freeing up that land for any number of purposes, and then brownfield remediation. Again, the reimbursement resolution is ready for most of the projects. In fact, I think the only one it's not is that recent opportunity with the CEMEX property. We anticipate we'll bring this to you later on this year, October, November. And as we've talked about in the past, a rate study is being taken up right now. That will lead to a feasibility study. Excuse me. As you know, we've outsourced that rate study to an organization that specializes in this type of thing. And it's really the first piece of that puzzle, because that will define, as the name implies, what is feasible to do in the feasibility report. What can we do with these rates? What can we do with these rates? And what do we anticipate the political and public appetite will be for those rate increases? So a lot of things going on behind the scenes associated with solid waste and their anticipated debt. And finally, stormwater, another big success story. I feel sorry for stormwater sometimes because when we initially embarked on this program, it was big, and then the pipes program came, and now it pales in comparison, but it has been very successful right from the get-go. So my compliments to that team. And we still have about $36 million more to go. We have the reimbursement resolutions adopted already by council, and we anticipate, again, later on this year coming before you for those projects. There we are. And the budget calendar so far, I know there has been discussion about a budget workshop. We have none on the calendar right now. So what remains after this presentation today are the first two public hearings, September 5th and September 19th. You'll excuse the user error. I'm sure it's user error. There we are. As I wrap up the presentation, I will share with you again that this budget is once again presented with OpenGov on the internet. We continuously upgrade this platform. We just upgraded it. We are very impressed with it, and hopefully more and more people will be impressed with it as time goes by. You see the significant user enhancements that we've implemented. Navigation is much easier, accessibility, transparency. We have also, as council motion, and I believe a priority for Councilwoman Hurtak, we also have the PDF copy we'll make available on the city website, with the exception, and I apologize for that, of the capital improvements program. Right now, the CIP is just too extensive to lend itself to printing in PDF, but we'll continue to work on that. And I am the first to admit it took me quite some time to acclimate from the hard copy book. I did a budget book for 20 years, but I was compelled to acclimate, so I did. So hopefully you all find the transition less traumatizing. But it's a fantastic product. It allows us to continue to improve our performance metrics, not only when it comes to the finances, but across the city. I will remind council, of course, and the viewing public, we are a major American city. 49th, 50th largest. The budget is complex. It's very large. It's very complex. We appreciate your patience as you navigate through it, whether it's on the internet or in book format, and that's why we're here. Please let us help you. We offer training on the OpenGov platform, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, you're our customers. Let us know how we can help guide you through this admittedly large and complex budget.
Can you show that last slide so the public knows where to go?
Can you put that back on, please? Oh, here we go, I'm sorry. There you are. Yeah, you're very welcome. And as I close this presentation, again, thank you for your patience. I know some of this is riveting, but it's all very, very interesting to us. I will remind, I'm very positive. I'm positive by nature, but as I've also shared with you that the city of Tampa, I think, has every reason to be positive. We are in a position that is the envy of so many other localities from a financial perspective. As we've discussed, we briefed all of you either this week or last week from a service delivery perspective, and I would submit to you from a customer expectation, from a taxpayer expectation perspective, we are not meeting our delivery metrics. We've all heard about it, transportation, et cetera, et cetera. But I remain very positive, but I would be remiss if I didn't share with you, and I'm sure you already know, we continue to be in a very challenging financial environment. I forget which rating agency it was, but they just, the second one now, out of the three major ones, just downgraded the United States government's finances. Never a good sign.
I was gonna say, we have better credit than the US government.
Yes, we do.
Yep.
Yes, we do. So, you know, whether it's inflation, global, national, local, et cetera, we are on solid ground, and we're very fortunate, in my opinion. We, as we've discussed, we want to take that next step. We want to move the needle. But regardless how it turns out over the next couple of weeks, I truly appreciate y'all's efforts and willingness to listen. You all have a big burden and a big privilege. I think we all do. So thank you genuinely for all of your efforts, and we look forward to continuing the discussion.
Thank you
And
very
that's all I
much.
have. Thank you, Council.
Any closing comments before we go to 5-minute recess so CTTV can switch over? Councilman Carlson, I saw your hand. Why don't we wait to the budget workshop, or do you want to?
I have a whole bunch of clarifying questions, but I want to ask one in particular. And I want to thank the mayor for coming here in person and doing this. Mr. O'Hara, on page 4, it says 11.7% increase. Every way I divide it, I get 16 or 17%. If you use the rollback rate, what is the rollback rate this year? Do we know?
I do not know, but
I think
can-
last year
can
was
have
like
that-
5.9, so if it's something like that, then it's closer to 17. But if you just take 1 divided by 6.2, you get somewhere around 16%. But if you take 7.1 divided by 7.2, you still get 13 or 14%.
You're absolutely right, sir. The increase in the millage from the 6.2-ish to the 7.2-ish is about 16%. The 11.7% was our increase in taxable value. How much our property, our taxable property in the city appreciated between last fiscal year and this fiscal year. And that increment or that delta is what drives the additional funding in the absence of a millage increase.
So the millage increase by itself is about 16%.
Yes, sir.
I have a bunch of other questions, but how do you want to handle it?
Are we going to set a budget workshop?
Yeah, I'm gonna set, I'm gonna call for one on August 15th if we can, Tuesday.
Can I,
Can we do that now?
can I just hit with two other quick clarifying questions?
All right, go ahead.
Page 8. I have a whole bunch of questions, but I'll just try to keep it short and ask them later. As I read this, Miami is up around 7.2. So if we increase to 7.2, then we'll be among the highest of our peers,
You are
right?
correct,
So
sir.
we're much lower now, but we're going to be on par, and that means we'll be ahead of Orlando and St. Pete.
Yes, sir.
Correct. And then on the debt, pages 41 and 42, I really would like to see the slides going back to 2010. I mean, it looks like we're going in the right direction with debt and debt service going down, but I'd like to see what it was before. Also, in the solid waste area, you talked about a line of credit. That's the first I had heard of that, but you and I had talked about the fund balance going down because of the deficit this year. I think we need to talk about that at some point as well. Also, I always say thank you to the mayor and you for focusing on fund balance. I think we ought to go back to 2010 on that also, so that we can see the comparison. The good thing is that, I think that's page 27. We are, under Pamela Orio's administration, the fund balance was about 150 million. And it looks like this year we'll be back to 2010. Isn't that correct?
It'll be about 150 million we anticipate next fiscal year, so.
So she saved that much by 2010. That's after the Great Recession ended in 2009. And so now, 13 years later, we'll almost be back to what she saved during that time. So again, congratulations to everybody and thank you for that.
And I'm sorry, just to clarify, sir, so we'll offer you a fund balance chart from 2010 to fiscal year 24.
Yeah, I think,
Copy.
yeah, I probably my colleagues have talked to Mayor Orio about this too, but during the Great Recession, I mean, she cut a lot of things, but she did a great job of being steward of the finances, and she found everything she could to cut. And I think she should get credit for having saved that much during the Great Recession. We're saving now during the boom times, and we're almost up to where she was back then. So I just wanted to make sure we thank her for that. Also, I wish there was a way that we could exclude the page 26, the CRA money, 8.6 million more to CRA. If you net out the increase, the 11.7 increase in tax rates, we're only getting about 26 million for this new tax, if my numbers are correct, because an additional 8.6 is going in the CRAs. And we're stuck because the public in the CRA districts doesn't want us to spend on infrastructure the city would have spent. But at the same time, then we can't spend it in the rest of the city. And that 8.6 million could be very valuable in the general fund. I wish Morris would help us figure out how to move that or not include it.
And again, full transparency, I want to make sure I'm clarifying between two particular increases in revenue. We have the increase in revenue associated with the increase in taxable value. That's about the 26 million. The Community Redevelopment Agency will get about 8 or 9 million from that.
Yeah, just to clarify, on page 9, you're including the, that 53 million includes the 11% increase in taxable value, right? So the net of that, it's on another page, I think, but the net of that is only like, it's a lower number than 46, I think.
Again, yes, if I can clarify, and we can provide a slide that identifies both. When we're talking about millage, we're talking two primary revenue increases. The increase associated with the taxable value, that's the 26 million. And then, as you said, Councilman, on slide number 9, this 46 million is over and above that. This is revenue confined solely to that 1 mill.
And then when you map out all these extra expenditures, by the way, thank you to the administration for listening to City Council's priorities, which we got from the community. That priority list is exactly what City Council's been asking for years. So they were spot on that. But as you look at the expenditures on all these things that we in the community want, do all these numbers though include that 11% increase in taxable value, or are you just amortizing out the 45 million?
It includes just the 45 million. And if I can back up briefly, and again, thank you. I appreciate the feedback, especially if we're going to have a workshop. That way we can be prepared to clarify some of these issues. But you've got the $26 million associated with the taxable value, and the CRA gets 8 of that. And then you see on page 9, you have the 46 million associated with the 1 mill, and the CRA gets 8 of that. We anticipate they would receive an additional 16 million in this scenario. Yes, so I want to make that clear because by coincidence, they both end up being very, very similar.
But it would still be 59 million total for
Yes.
CRA? Okay.
With the mill.
Yes, that includes that additional 16 million. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Councilman Clendenin?
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, please.
One, I also want to applaud the mayor for coming today and presenting a proposed budget that is very reflective of, one, the wishes of council as I see them, but also the wishes of the people that live in the city of Tampa. Having just recently come out of a campaign and someone who campaigned strong on, as a citizen of Tampa for coming on 40 years, I recognize that our infrastructure is crumbling and that there's these unmet needs that have been, deferred maintenance and so many elements of our city. I heard it loud and clear on the campaign. I ran on this issue in the campaign to make sure that we do these things. So I love what Ms. Duncan said. We need to start somewhere. A lot of the times these things seem so overwhelming that it's like there's no fix to it. But somebody's got to do the non-sexy things, and some of this stuff is not sexy, and it's not some of this deferred maintenance is not something that you can put on a campaign flyer and run for re-election on. Just like the bold project that the former council and the mayor did with pipes, again, not a sexy thing, but a need for the city and a need for the community. It's something that I think we're doing very well for not just the current residents of the city, but the people that are going to be coming here and my kids and my grandkids. So I applaud the city for coming forward with all of these maintenance items. I think the people that live in the city of Tampa have to really understand that our fire stations are in dire need of rehabilitation, that they are crumbling in areas. I mean, I think people would be shocked to see some of the conditions, the deferred maintenance in these fire stations. I think people would be shocked to find out that because of, various things that have happened with the Great Recession and so forth, that our police officers driving in cars that are, we'd normally replace them every 7 years, but they're 14 years old. And I don't know how many people hold on to cars for 14 years old in normal driving conditions, but I guarantee you they probably don't think that our police officers are doing that, and then the cost of maintenance because we're doing things like that. Fire trucks, I think the chief did a good job of talking about what our problems with acquiring fire trucks and making sure that we have those in emergency services. I really want to, I didn't hear, but I want to make sure as we bring it to the workshop, AVL and CAD for the fire truck department, to make sure that that is something that we are funding and that we're bringing that forward. I think it's really important for our first responders and to our citizens that that technology is available to our fire department.
Understood.
Also, the police chief, I am so happy to hear about his full support. It's one of the first meetings I had with him was on the police athletic lead. I think that is a really important thing for the city to be doing. It's a hand up, and it's an ability to reach out to the community and provide something for the youth. And I applaud him for taking leadership in that. I'm looking forward to supporting that type of initiative. So thank you so much. 192 parks. We own a lot of property, and we have not been maintaining that property. I think people, when they see some of the bells and whistles of some of the new infrastructure we've built, they don't realize, one, how it got built and what money it got built from. So it's not, like Julian B. Lane is an example. A lot of that came from that BP oil money. It didn't come from us. It was other people's money, right? Yeah. But there's a lot of parks in our neighborhoods that nobody's touched in years. There's broken picnic tables. There's no picnic tables at all. There's no benches at all. There's no nothing. But these are little gems that bring communities together if we improve them. So I think that it's something that we as a community, I think our citizens expect us to be able to do that. And if you own property in your own personal life, you have to maintain what you currently have. And we are woefully behind. I think this is a bold step forward in ensuring that we meet the needs of the citizens of Tampa, and that we were doing the right thing and good custodians of our positions and the people's money. So I thank you all and all of the staff for bringing this forward. And I think we have some room to talk about how we shift stuff, how we shift funding in this scenario. But I think that can be done in workshop, and as we push forward through this, as we make sure these projects move forward. I look forward to implementation. I look forward to working with council to get a good budget forward and really do well for the citizens of Tampa.
Thank you, sir.
Councilman Vieira, then Councilman Miranda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I took a lot of notes, and I'm not going to get into all of them, but I do have some initial impressions, and I explained those to the administration. Still have those very, very strongly. A question, Mr. Rahira, I wanted to make sure, if I recall, from this tax increase, 20% goes to public safety. Am I right? Okay, so 20% goes to public safety. Okay, yeah. So just
in fact, again,
go ahead, sir.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
21.
It might be 21.
21.
But yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes.
Más o menos, as we say.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So 21%, et cetera. Yeah. So I think it's incumbent on all of us as council members and as representatives of the community to speak to the community on the different issues that are here. Like I said yesterday, not everything is black and white. There's a lot of gray, and this budget obviously has a lot of gray. There's a lot of good things, but there's always offsets. Nothing is free. One of the things that I looked up during this budget presentation is millage rates in other cities. Take a look at a lot of South Florida municipalities. They're in that 7 level. And as Councilman Carlson pointed out, we'll be reaching up to that level. We have to be very judicious. Inflation right now is 7.3% in the Tampa Bay area, more than double what the national rate is. So again, I think we have to have a good talk with the public on that gray. I've said many, many times before in the past, I support a millage upward rate adjustment for public safety. I do. I think that's very, very important. From what I see in this budget, there's a lot of upgrades to facilities, particularly with Tampa Fire, 30 new police officers. That's wonderful. I don't see in year one anything for a new station, particularly for downtown Tampa, something that I think council has spoken about many, many times. That's part of what we talk about in having a public safety master plan. So again, there is a lot to work out there. There is a lot to work out there. I do support an upward millage adjustment, particularly for public safety. I've come out before for transportation in 2016, 2018, 2022. So that's not an unreasonable dialogue to have. But I think we have a lot to talk about, especially with the public, on these new obligations that we're going to be taking on. Again, there's not a lot of black and white things in life, particularly in politics. There's a lot of gray here. So I think that we have to talk about that. But again, that level of 21% on public safety, I think is something that this council should certainly look at, particularly given our very acute police and fire needs. I think that's something that's very important. I think the public supports paying a reasonable amount more for public safety. They've talked about it more for transportation and other issues. I've spoken more about parks and additional revenue, and my belief that we shouldn't be asking for additional revenue for parks. That being said, I'm one of 7. And there's compromise in here, and that's how good legislation and good budgets get done. But I think we have to have a very vigorous discussion on that, and so I'll shut up at this time. Thank you.
Councilman
Thank you,
Moran.
sir.
Thank you. Well, if he's 1 of 7, I'm 2 of 7. But anyway, what I'm saying is this. When you look at the future and you look at what you're doing and try to accomplish, there's some things that come to mind. The future is that somewhere along the line, yourself or chief of staff or the mayor with the council going to have to figure out where you're going to get the monies when you don't have any gas tax decreasing because the electric cars are going to come in. What is the other governments doing to make sure that the electric cars pay their fair share of using the roads and giving part of that money to the city? And number one. Number two, the CIT tax, the last bite is 2026, but that'll figure now to that at the end of 2026, it'll zero coming in. So that's another thing that you use for money for infrastructure. When you come around and you look at sustainability, this city has the area where you can really turn things around if you get some money from not only the Fed but other monies to make sure that every drop of water that we have in the canals are sustainable for the future, including those that you have in the reservoir that holds 1.2 billion gallons of water. By putting solar on top of those areas and the canals, you solve 2 problems. First, a decrease of 10% of loss of water through evaporation. And secondly, you gain the sustainability for the future of the world. And I heard me right when I say the world. It's not about Tampa. It's been the hottest July in the world, not only in Tampa. It's been the warmest in the world, not only in Key West, where the water degree there was 100 degrees. We must prepare for tomorrow because today's thinking is not going to make success in the future. That's number 2. And number 3, I agree with everything the council members have said. And if I read this right, the property taxes collected is $387 versus the police and fire expenses of $357. That's the first time I've seen the property tax collection of the city be greater than the expenses of the fire and police department combined. I believe last year it was $20-some million the other way around. We are making some headway to make sure that the public is protected. People don't come here because they like you or me or anyone else here. They come for education. Do you have that? Yes, we do. They come for security from a great police department. Yes, we do. They come for safety. When you're in the home and you call that 911 and the fire department shows up, that sick person feels 100% better just looking at the people coming in to take care of that person. So they made, I don't know how many, 800-some thousand calls, or 88,000 calls if I recall, and those are the things that we offer as service. Everything costs more. What I'd like to see from 2010, as was mentioned before, what was the cost of something in 2010, doing business with the city? What is it today? So that the public can get a real fine idea of what it costs to run a government. Yes, price of eggs have gone up. Yes, they've also come down. Milk, the same way. Everything that the public has to do to make a living has almost doubled. And I can tell you, one day I'm going to start Charlie's Corner and talk about everywhere I go and the prices of everything. And let me warn you of one thing. Those are of my age that are listening. Don't believe the people that send you something that they want to buy your house and they give you a quote. They're using you as a sucker for you to buy that house. It's always $80,000 to $100,000 less than the real value of the house. I'm more concerned about those things because the people that I know are getting hurt, and I see that quite often. But what I'm saying is I want to scrutinize the budget even more. When I read this, 87 to 57, I said, my God, this is the first time in ever if it's factual, I assume it is, that the property taxes are more than it costs to run the police and fire. But thank you very much, and we'll make a decision here. I'd like to have it, when it's finished, I'd like to make a request for a special call meeting on August the 15th at 5:01.
All right, we have a motion then to set that special call hearing August 15th at what time?
At 5:01.
It's a Tuesday night.
Tuesday night, right, August the 15th, Tuesday night at 5:01.
I can't do it that night.
I think I don't, my aide is watching, I don't know if it's August 15th, but let's,
I can do it the 24th, but I can't do it the 15th, unfortunately.
yes, Mr. Shelby?
Just for clarification, Councilman Miranda, that is a special call workshop, is that
Right.
correct? Thank you.
Do the 22nd?
Can you do during the day, or no?
I can do just about any other time, but not that.
Not that day at all?
I can do the 24th is a Thursday, right?
Tuesday.
Yeah, we're
22nd.
trying to do a Tuesday. That's the 15th
Yeah,
is a
22nd
Tuesday.
I can do it.
Is
That's
the
fine.
22nd?
Lisa, do I have anything on August 15th?
22nd, we're looking
No,
at.
22nd. Huh?
Can we make that motion later? I just need to look
Yeah,
at
it's
the calendar. I
fine.
just want to get my
Yeah,
calendar.
I'll look at our.
Let's
calendar.
take when we take our 5-minute recess, I just need to see the calendar. Councilwoman Hurtak, you had
Thank
a.
you. Yes,
No, so, yeah.
I want to start by looking at the millage rate comparison when we talked about Tampa and Orlando and St. Pete and Miami. Miami does have the highest, and this would bring us toward Miami. The one thing we aren't considering is that most of those other counties have a transportation tax that we don't have. Penny for Pinellas, they're able to fund their transportation needs.
That's
And
true.
we simply aren't. And we don't have the ability to create, the county is not gonna do it. So when we consider it, yes, we are gonna have a millage increase close to those, but those folks are gonna have taxes above that they are paying toward transportation that we simply aren't. Unfortunately, that also enables visitors to pay that tax. But again, that's out of our hands. We, just so the public knows, we aren't allowed to make those increases. Those have to go through the county. So we aren't allowed to create a tax for ourselves for transportation. So this is our tax for ourselves for transportation. To go further looking at transportation, certainly during that workshop, I do want to hear a little bit more about, we're looking at putting 39% of this mill increase into transportation, which would be paving and streetcar expansion possibly, and I would love to hear a little bit more about that. Public safety, I think, has been covered for now. Obviously, Parks and Rec would want to hear more on. But the one thing that nobody's talked about that, of course, I want to bring up is housing, and 20% for housing. What I would like for that department, for Ms. Travis and her department to bring back, we had that really beautiful graphic, and I don't have it in my budgets this time, showing the different buckets that money would go
remember that,
into. So I think the public would like to see what's the total amount we could put toward housing. And the really important thing that she hit on that I want to talk about even more is the fact that if we have a dedicated funding source like this, we really can go after those dollars. She told me recently, in the last couple of days, that there were 2 motels that we could have bought. We just didn't have the money. Yeah, I mean, that's immediate housing. Then those are large parcels that we could turn into multifamily housing. I was crushed when I heard that.
Missed opportunities, yes.
Yeah, missed opportunities. And so, like, when you talk about that CEMEX plan, that I was immediately interested, because one of the things the public keeps talking to me about is that waste to energy facility. It's great that we're renovating it, but what happens when we have more people as we expand, because we're going to be at capacity? How do we expand that capacity? And I have to tell the public, we just don't have any more, there's not any space. That CEMEX plant could help with the possibility of space further down the road. So the ability, not only do we have this great buffer that we've talked about, we're going to have 150 million that we just have sitting in the bank that help us, borrow money, but we need the money for those missed opportunities, because that's the one thing that the city of Tampa, we are hemmed in. We have nowhere to grow. We have water, or we have the county. And we're not annexing. So where do we go? Once our land is gone, it's gone. So anything we can do to buy land or to reutilize the land we have is so critical. So that is my favorite part of this budget, the ability to look forward. And I do, again, want to thank the mayor and her administration for coming and presenting such a bold vision for the city. I greatly appreciate it. I think the presentation today was very clear. There's a lot of questions, and I can hear it already, obviously, from just us, so I know the public will have that as well. And I want to thank you, Mr. O'Hara, for working hard to get that PDF available of the general fund money, which is about 640 million. Did I get that right? Somewhere in that
Something like that.
ballpark? So I just want to say thank you for that, because that's the area of the budget that is really malleable for us. That's where we can move money around the best. The other money is pretty much spoken for. So in a $1.9 billion budget, it's really 640 million that we really get to look at. And so for that to be available for the public so that they can see where all that goes, in a PDF form. I will warn people it's about 350 pages, I think you told me.
Yeah.
So it's still probably something you want to view on the computer, but I just really do appreciate that, and I'm really looking forward to whenever we can put this workshop together. I would absolutely ask my colleagues, though, to make that a night meeting so that more people could attend. And thank you.
Councilwoman Henderson.
Yes, and Chief Herrera, thank you so much
Yes, ma'am.
to the mayor and to all of the staff that worked so hard to present this to us today. This is my first budget hearing. I actually was really excited about it. These numbers are just huge, and I know that we're thinking about the future as we ask for this millage increase. One of the things that I would like to see and hear is the mid-level projects. I know that you listed the primary ones, but I feel like there's a lot of dollars still involved in mid-level projects, so I would like to know those in more detail. And also even to break out, as I had in the discussion with you all at staff, was the anything that is supporting our youth outside of parks, regular parks and rec, but our PAL program, our East Tampa Summer Program, as well as summer employment programs. We have an opportunity once those numbers are presented, as I said to you, to involve public and private partnerships to support our youth. We have to start thinking beyond just what the city is responsible for. There are plenty of organizations and corporations who do very well in this city that we can ask them other people's money should also be incorporated into some of the decisions that we make so that the city doesn't have to have the burden, but yet we're still thinking about the future generations. So great job on the presentation.
Thank you.
I can tell that you all did your homework, and the PowerPoint slides were very simple to understand. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
And I'll wrap up before we take this 5-minute recess. Thank you very much for the presentation and for the mayor coming out. Councilman Miranda brought up a couple of things that I wanted to mention, and one of them is the CIT runs out right around the corner.
Yes, sir.
And with the last two sales tax proposal increases that have been shot down essentially, what confidence do we have, what guarantee do we have? Although the CIT tied in stadiums and others, a stadium and other things, what if that doesn't get renewed? What if we don't have that funding source come 2026? Our city is growing, our city is changing. We talked about deferred maintenance, we talked about the quality of our roads, most importantly, housing. That is not gonna get better. We need to continue the investment. That's something that we heard loud and clear. That was probably the biggest, if not the biggest topic through the campaign over the last several years is housing. We need to continue the investment there. We talked about the quality of our roads. That's one of the biggest complaints I get is the quality of our roads. We need to address that. And again, without these dedicated funding sources, as Councilwoman Hurtak mentioned, other counties have those dedicated sources. Penny for Pinellas, you know, our neighbor, they have it, we don't. And so we need to look at different alternatives in order to continue those investments in the future and meet those needs. I look forward to looking into this budget. I know it's very large. Thank you for putting it online and providing it to us electronically. So having said that, We're going to take a 5-minute recess. Please check your calendars. When we get back, we can decide on a date for this workshop. We'll take this into further discussion. So we're in recess for 5 minutes, and we're going to start back up with public comment. Thank you.
Thank you.